Hello, my name is Duncan and welcome to Back Away from the Donkey Back Books. And to all your bots out there, Gort, Clatu, Barada, Nikto. So now we've got that out of the way. This is just one of my pick and mixes, random talks and things. I've had a bit of a sort of chaotic week and not done what I was hoping to do. I'm in the middle of editing a slightly scripted video, but as always, it takes me longer than I always expect to. So yeah, I'm planning on recording a couple of 2 or 3 videos today. It all depends. We'll see how we go. Anyway, this is my pick and mix, a bit about the Read What You Own challenge, what I finished this past week, some stuff I've got coming up, and I may even put in the middle bits of some of my dog walks and stuff in the middle just to brighten up your day. So yeah, first book I started reading last week was Robert Heinlein's Double Star, in this nice old Panther edition, and I finished that because it's not quite a nice short book. For some reason, it's a book that passed me by. As much as I've read quite a lot of Heinlein, for some reason that one I'd never read. It won the Hugo in 1956, I think it was. But yeah, it's a story of a man called the Great Lorenzo, who's like a, not magician, it's like a mimic, a stage performer, almost mentalist at points, and he is asked and almost kidnapped to stand in for a politician, to fake being this politician while setting to go on Mars. And at the time there's Martians here who are big tree-like weird things, and this politician wants to help with amalgamating everybody together. It's suddenly gone very dark outside, so the light suddenly changed. That's what's happened. But yeah, something got very dark. But yes, so it was really quite enjoyable read. I enjoy Heinlein's work most of the time. There's a couple of books of his I'm not particularly keen on, and one of his early work is good, and it's not like joined up to the rest. Am I the only person who gets annoyed when people write books and then posthumously try to join them all together? Asimov did that and annoyed me at the time, as much as I love Asimov's work in trying to join all this stuff together. Just keep them as separate books, it's better. And that's just a rant for another day. So this one's just a separate book. It's not connected to things like the Methuselah's Children and all in that galaxy. But it's quite an enjoyable book. It's more about the political intrigue than anything else. Sorry, I just said, sound like somebody was calling me. But it was just a noise from outside. But yeah, it's more about the political intrigue than anything else. And it doesn't really concentrate much on the Martians and what have you, which you might, I think we should term what have you, I should use this. But yeah, it concentrates more on the humans and the political intrigue than anything else. But it's a really enjoyable book. I enjoyed it. As with a lot of books of this age, the female representation is not good. There is only one woman in it, and she's a secretary, and she faints at least 3 times in the book. Sorry, which I found hilarious. But yeah. But Heinlein actually later on was very good in his representation of women. Some quite strong female characters, but this one's not his best for that. But you take it as what it is, and within this galaxy, that's what happens. And it's the time the book was written, doesn't stop it being an enjoyable book or anything. So yeah, Robert Heinlein's Double Star. Reading it though, even though it won the Hugo, there was a couple of other books around. There's a End of Eternity, I think was there, Asimov, which I think is a far better book. So I'm surprised this won the Hugo. But yeah, Robert Heinlein, Double Star, that was my main finish of the week. And so then I went on to, that's the first book of the Read What You Own. And if you don't know, the Read What You Own is, as it says on the tin, you read what you own. Originally started by Criminale and his evil ways. A lot of people do 100 books. Michael K. Vaughan is in his own planet doing millions of them, as far as I can work out. Mine, I'm doing 25 at the moment, though I could expand it. And I'll give you my little rules for it are the fact it's got to be physical books. When I reread, it doesn't count. And I do quite a bit of rereading. My main reason for doing it is just try and explore some of these books that I've got that obviously I have for a reason and I've kept for a reason. So that's what I do. So I said Robert Heinlein's Double Star was the first one of that. So 1 book down, because it started on November 6th. And just to say, I've done a spreadsheet on Google Documents of what I'm reading from the beginning of this challenge, and that will include everything, but it also shows you what counts and not counts to the challenge. But out of interest, it'll have everything, including the ISBNs on there, so if you're interested in the books, you can always go and have a look there. The second book I'm doing, which will be included in the challenge, is actually Everest the Hard Way by Chris Bonington. And I'm not that far into it at the moment, but this I found in a local charity shop. And Chris Bonington is a British mountaineer adventurer, and I had a quick look on his wiki page, and it says that he was in the army first, and then he decided he was going to become a professional explorer. How do you do that? How do you become a professional explorer? Who pays for it? But anyway, this is about his second attempt at going up the, is it southwest? Yeah, southwest face of Everest, which nobody's ever done. And this was in 1975. And at the moment, I'm to the bits when they're getting all the funding and what have you. They'd tried a couple of years before and failed. And this was before the back end of the 90s when Nepal opened up, so there's a lot less. They would only let one team on the mountain at one time. But what has initially got to me is people dying, the amount of people dying. There's a great line in here from a guy called John Hunt in the introduction. And he says, and it is well that this should be the case, for man should be humble before the greatest works of nature. And as you said, even just starting, as you read this, the amount of people who've died, there was a Scottish climber in here that he's dedicated the book to, who basically died just afterwards, just skiing. And it's, yeah, they just talk about people dying as, yeah, it happens. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting more into that. I said I'm only 50 pages or so in. Yeah, 50 pages into that. So I've been enjoying that. And one of the other books I am reading at the moment, as you know, I read quite a few at a time, is this book of science fiction short stories. The sci-fi collection with one of the worst pieces of art by a great artist on it. Because it's Alex Arroyos, but that is a terrible piece of art. But I finished there's a story in here by, what's his name? Sorry, Clock That Went Backwards, which was by Edward Page Mitchell, who did loads and loads of short stories. And it was a time travel story done before H.G. Wells did The Time Machine. That was quite enjoyable. But the one that got me is I've just read a John Wyndham short story, and I've never really read many John Wyndham shorts at all. And it was called The Lost Machine. I'll show you this. The other thing about this collection of books, came out in 1999. Lost Machine, John Wyndham, is it's really bad paper stock because it's gone incredibly yellow. But yeah, The Lost Machine by John Wyndham. If you get a chance to read that, that was a really interesting story, which is about this machine coming from Mars, but along with some Martians, and the Martians, it gets lost onto Earth, and it's really quite an interesting story. So yeah, so that's that. I'm going to leave you for a little break for a couple of seconds because I want to get a drink, and then I will be back and I will finish up with, I am going to blame Red by Fred for something, because it's all Fred's fault. So I will speak to you in a second. Say hello to Ruby. This is Ruby. Ruby is, as you know, that we sadly lost our gorgeous Labrador girl at the beginning of October. Sorry. And obviously we were left with our gorgeous little Yorkie Gizmo, who's asleep over there. And this is Ruby. Our local rescue lady there we know quite well sent me pictures of Ruby one night, because Gizmo's been struggling without his friend Micah, and she was down south and said, basically, would you consider this girl? As a person who's always had big dogs, had a golden retriever as well at one point, saw Hartley, who we lost 2 years ago. I'd never considered another small dog, but we said, okay, we'll foster her for a bit. So this is Ruby, who is staying with us for a bit, but I think could be permanent, I think. And as I said, she's not a Pomeranian. She's a mini golden retriever. Okay. And she's the sweetest little dog in the world, aren't you? And unlike Gizmo, she's not as antisocial. So she might appear in a few more. So this is Ruby Roundhouse, because she spins. She technically is a foster, but I have a feeling she may stay a little longer. No, and she's not a Pomeranian. She's a mini golden retriever. Okay? And I'm not an overweight man walking 2 little dogs. Gorgeous. Anyway, back to the next bit, the second part of it. I just had to go and get a drink. And I sort of found Ruby on the way. Fred, in one of his roundup of the month, did a book by an author. Oops, sorry, I just want to get the book. Oops. Sorry, I've moved the camera then. Sorry. Hopefully I've not moved it too much. A book by an author called Si Montgomery about octopuses, or octopi, if we'll go in plural. I'm going to have to put you down, Ruby. This is not working for me. Okay. But yeah, let me rearrange the camera a bit. Sorry about the blurriness. It all went a bit pear-shaped there, because I knocked the camera with Ruby's things. But yes, by an author called Si Montgomery about octopi. And as I'm on the Read What You Own, I can't buy books, obviously. But I was really intrigued by it, because I'm fascinated by octopuses. So my library, I had a look into their database, and we've got a smallish library, because obviously we live in an island off the north of Scotland, so it's not the biggest library in the world. So they didn't have that one. They had another book by the same author called Journey of the Pink Dolphins by Si Montgomery in 2000. So I decided to book that in the library and had a book to my reading list that's not going to count for the Read What You Own challenge. And it is about the dolphins in the Amazon, called the pink dolphins, and the search for them and all the mythology behind them, because there's a lot of mythology. And I'll read the beginning of it. It says, scientists call them Ineagiophthenesis. My Latin is not good. An ancient species of toothed whale whose origin dates back to 50 million years. To the local people of the Amazon, pink river dolphins are botos, shapeshifters that in the guise of human desire can claim your soul and take you to the Encante, an enchanted underwater world. So yeah, so it's about her search and investigation those. So I thought that's something a bit different to read, and it's not about octopuses or octopi, it's about dolphins. So yeah, so it's Fred's fault. Blame it all on Fred. So yeah, so that's about it from today's pick and mix. Hope you enjoyed the little interlude in the middle, and I said I'm going to hopefully finish this in the Everest book in the next few days, because I'm going for that nice break, and I'm slowly finally getting through my science fiction collection books, and I'll see how I go. I said I'm recording a few videos, hopefully have some more out. I'm hopefully have a better week, because we've had so much going on. It's really hard to explain, and I'm going to go off and have a look at some of your videos that I've been behind on very soon. And I will speak to you all very, very soon.